Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. In my last video, I used Ramina to remote into a real bare metal computer that's in the other room, and I installed the ST terminal in it. Today, in this video, instead of remoting into a computer using Ramina, I'm going to go into the terminal and SSH into a different bare metal computer that I have to do an update. Now, the computer I'm going to SSH into today is running Arch Linux. I installed Arch Linux in it back in August, and the computer's been off. So it's gone just over 3 months without an update, and that's a long time for Arch Linux. So I'm going to SSH into it, and the reason why I'm going to SSH into it is I don't have my camera and microphone hooked up to that computer. So I'm going to SSH into it and do an update, and I want to see if the update's going to break. And I'm not worried about it because if it breaks, I'll just do a fresh install on that computer. So let's get to it. So right now I'm in my main production computer, which is running Arch Linux with the Spectre window manager. And I'm going to open up a terminal. And should I make that a little larger? Well, let's just do a Neofetch first in this computer. So you can see I'm running Arch Linux. This is an Optiplex 7010. It's been up and running for almost 4 days. I have the ST terminal, and this computer here, well, it's running the Spectre window manager and the ST terminal. Now let's do an Htop. I don't know why I'm doing this. I always do this. And of course, this computer, like I said, it's been up and running for almost 4 days. It has 4 processors, no swap, and 16 gigabytes of RAM. And the reason why the RAM is so high, because I'm in a window manager, and I'm using 1 gig of RAM, and the processors are using almost 50% of my processors, is because OBS Studio is open and I'm recording. Okay, let's quit out of there, and let's clear the screen, and let's SSH into my other computer. I'm going to do SSH mensch at, this is just my internal IP address. Now it's asking for that computer's password, and now I'm logged in. So now I'm logged into that other computer. And let's do an Htop. So we can see that computer has been up for 1 day and 20 minutes. And that computer has 4 processors, no swap, and 30 gigabytes of RAM. And right now it's running at 366 megabytes. Not bad, eh? Now I'm going to quit out of there, and I'm going to just do a Neofetch while I'm here. And you can see this computer is called Mensch at Arch Wi-Fi, because this computer, not only is this computer running Arch Linux, it's hooked up through the internet through a Wi-Fi dongle. And like I said before, it's been up for 1 day and 20 minutes, and it has actually 32 gigabytes of RAM. And right now we're using 375 megabytes. Not bad, eh? So now I'm going to clear the screen, and now I'm going to type in this command last. So this particular computer, and like I said, it's a bare metal computer, it's not a virtual machine. I made a video back in August, on August 18th, showing how to install Arch Linux with Wi-Fi. And after I made the video, I shut the computer off and I never used it again. Now, I did turn it on yesterday, okay, just to get it up and running, but I didn't do an update or anything. So it hasn't been updated since August the 18th. So it's just over 3 months. And like I said, that's a long time for Arch Linux. So I'm going to do an update and see if the update works or see if it breaks. And to tell you the truth, I don't even remember what mirrors I have in here. So before I do an update, I'm going to check the mirrors. Let's do, now I have an alias. I'm not going to use my alias. I have an alias that will get me into the mirror file, but let's not use my alias. Let's do it the hard way. And let's just make this a little bigger. And let's do sudo vim. Well, I should do, I got Etsy, Pacman, period D, mirror list. And of course I have to do vim, right? Ugh, what am I? Okay, that's better. Let's put my password in. And now I'm in the mirror list, and that's kind of really hard to read. Let's do color scheme evening. Oh, that's better. Oh, so you know what? I did this install using the Arch automated installer, and it picked some mirrors for me. So you know what I'm going to do? So I'm going to open up another workspace, and let's do mod key 3 is going to open up, take me to workspace 3 because I'm running the Spectre window manager in my main computer. So let's open up Firefox, and I'm going to go to Arch Linux mirrors, and I'm going to make this larger. Let's go do successfully syncing mirrors. I just want to make sure I have a good mirror because I'm doing such a large update from 3 months ago, right? And I'm going to select country and country again. And that brings the United States mirrors up to top. And even though I'm in Canada, I'm going to look for a good United States mirror. So this HTTPS America package build, it's 100% in sync and it's at 0.07. So that's a good mirror. So I'm going to use that mirror. So I'm going to close down my web browser and I'm going to go back to workspace 1. That's where I have my terminal open, where I've SSH'd into my other computer. And you can see actually that mirror is right at the top. That's the first mirror. So I'm going to just save this. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. And because I didn't change it, I don't have to sync it. So let's clear the screen and let's do an update. Let's do sudo pacman syu. And let's check out the time. It's 5:42 and 10 seconds. Well, we don't care about the 10 seconds. So it's 5:42. And it replace tracker 3. Default is yes. Let's hit enter. And can we just scan up? Oh, it's not bad. It's only doing 382 packages. I would have thought it would have been 1,000 or over 1,000. This hasn't been updated in over 3 months, and it is Arch Linux. Huh, isn't that surprising? Only 382 packages. That's kind of odd. Kind of hard to believe. Let's hit enter. And what did I say it was 342. So it's updating the system. And I'm going to pause the video. And I'm going to come back when the update is finished before I reboot. Or I'm going to come back when it stops and I get an error message. So don't go away. Okay, so I'm back. And it took just over 7 minutes, which is kind of long for Arch, but not really. Not when you consider I hadn't updated it for just over 3 months. And it was, what was it, 300 and, I can't remember now. Let's go back. 381 packages. So almost 400 packages. And it worked. I really thought it was going to get jammed up and I was going to get an error message. So now I'm going to reboot it. Reboot. And it failed to reboot. Oh, you know why? Because I'm logged in through SSH. I wonder if it let me reboot with my password. Sudo reboot. Put my password in. And now it's disconnected. So the computer is rebooting. And I can hear it. And I got disconnected because I'm in SSH. So what I'm going to do is pause the video, let the other computer reboot up, and come back and show you that I'm logged into it. Okay? So don't go away, because I'll be back. Okay, so the computer rebooted, and let's see if I can get into it. So now I'm going to type in let's just clear the screen. Let's do SSH mensch at, put my internal IP address in, asking for mensch's password of the other computer. Put that in, and now I'm in. And remember that computer is called Arch Wi-Fi. So let's do an Htop. Oops. And we've been up for 2 minutes. I had the video paused. And you can see we're running, well, this is the computer. It has 4 processors, no swap, 32 gigs of RAM, and we're running at 323 megabytes of RAM. And let's quit out of there. And let's do a Neofetch. and we're running at 336 megabytes of RAM out of my 32 megabytes of RAM. And you can see I'm in the Optiplex 5050. It's running Arch Linux. And I'm at Mensch at Arch Wi-Fi, because that's what I called this computer. I called it Arch Wi-Fi. So that's really good. Wow. I was expecting it to be 1,000 packages to update, and I was expecting it to get jammed up with an error message, and I was going to have to do a fresh install. Now, what I'm going to do is, I wasn't going to do this as kind of an extra. I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to cd into my Mensch folder, and I'm going to update the Gitlab repository in this computer. And of course, I'm in it through SSH, right? So I'm just going to type in git pull. Wow, look at all that. Let's go up a bit. And it's already updated. That's fast, eh? Wow, look at that. That's how much because I worked on my GitLab repository quite a bit in the last few months. Like I said, this computer hasn't been on in 3 months. So wow, look at that. Let's clear the screen. You know what I'm going to do? I was going to make this a really short video, but I think it's going to end up being a bit longer. I'm going to install the Gnome desktop environment and then remote into the desktop environment like I was remoted into the computer, my other computer in my last video. Okay, let's cd out of there. And remember, I'm connected to the other computer through SSH. So I'm going to do sudo pacman -s gnome. I think that's all I got to put in there. Put the password in, and it's installing all these things. I'm just going to hit A for Alt. Let's do the default. And 194 packages just to install Gnome. The reason why I'm installing Gnome, a lot of people think it's heavy, and after you install it, if you take a few things out, it's not so heavy. But the Gnome has available in it a really easy way for you to do a remote desktop. When you do a remote desktop, it's not like you are doing an SSH in a terminal. When you do a remote desktop, you have full control of the desktop computer. It's as if you're sitting in front of the actual computer. And it makes it really easy to do. So I'm going to do that. And there's a lot of packages, 194. Okay, so now Gnome is installed. And now what I'm going to do is cd into Mensch Arch. And I'm going to ls it. Oop. Let's clear the screen. Let's ls it that way. And I'm going to cd into this multi folder. So let's cd into multi. Oops, I should spell it right. MUL. And let's clear the screen and let's ls it. And I'm going to open up number 2. See this right here? Number 2. To remove. Now that's a script, but I don't remember what's in there. So I'm going to open it up. Let's vim number 2. So I'm not going to run the script because Discover and Plasma Firewall are not installed because they come with the KDE desktop environment. What I'm going to do is, you know what? I'm just going to delete Discover. I'm going to delete Linux LTS because that's not installed. I'm going to delete Plasma Firewall. So I'm going to remove Epiphany, Gnome Console, and Gnome Software because when I log into the Gnome desktop environment, it's going to be run lighter. Okay, and especially this Gnome Software Center, it really makes the Gnome desktop environment run really heavy. It uses a lot of RAM. And Epiphany is just a web browser that nobody uses. Okay. And Gnome Console is Gnome Terminal. It used to be called Gnome Terminal. Now it's called Gnome Console. So I'm going to save the script. And I'm going to ls. And I'm going to run it. So I'm going to do /2r. Asking for my password. I put my password in. And it's going to remove those 3 programs. And it's done. So now I'm going to exit. And I'm going to close this. So now I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to go to the other computer and set up remote desktop environment, and I'm going to come back. But don't go away. Okay, I'm back. So the Gnome desktop is installed. I set everything up for a remote desktop. So this is my main production computer, and I'm going to do a remote desktop into the same computer that I was just in through SSH, and then I did the update in and installed the Gnome desktop environment. So I'm going to open up Armina. I'm going to do mod key R opens up Armina for me, and I'm going to click on this Dell 3. Let's click it on. And we're remoting into it. And there we are. Now we're in it. And you can see here we have Wi-Fi. This computer is running on Wi-Fi. And let's open up a terminal. Let's open up Xterm. Let's make that full screen. And so we're running at 932 megabytes of RAM. That's a little bit high. But some people say, GNOME runs at 1.4 gigabytes of RAM or 1.3 or 1.8. 900 is not bad for the Gnome desktop environment. Let's quit out of there. Let's do a Neofetch. And you can see I'm in Mensch at our Wi-Fi. It's Arch Linux. It's the Optiplex 5050. It's running the 611.9 kernel. Been up for 3 minutes. I'm in the Gnome desktop environment. And it's using a gig of RAM. And of course, this computer has 32 gigabytes of RAM. And let's do an Htop. And there we are. And let's close that. And you can see I have full control of this computer. And I do have Firefox installed, right? Let's type in Firefox. Let's pin that to the bottom. Pin to dash. Let's get out of there. Let's go there. And let's open it. And here we are. We are in Firefox. Okay, you can see I haven't done much with this computer. All I did was in August, I did an install, shut it down, and never used it again. So let's disconnect. And so if I open up this, I love Armina. Click this on, click that on, close that, and now I'm in my main production computer again. And that's it. In this video, I connected to a computer that's been off for 3 months through SSH. It's running Arch Linux, and I did an update. And really, what happened is that I used this computer to do an install back in August. And I never used it again. It's been off. And because it's running Arch Linux and it's been off for 3 months, I thought I was going to have trouble doing an update. I thought the update was going to break. And I wanted to see how long it would take to do the update. And instead of just updating it, I figured, let's update it on camera. Because I really thought it was going to break. So I logged into it through SSH and I did an update. As you saw, it took about 7.5 minutes to do the update. There was 380 updates to do, and it updated, and it didn't break, and it updated pretty fast. And then I wasn't planning to do this, but as a bonus, I installed the Gnome desktop environment. I removed a few things that make it run high. And then I connected to that computer from my main production computer through remote desktop environment app called Armina. And I showed how I have complete control of the computer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.